real quick, we mentioned earlier before the show making money every month.
Yeah.
Online is the way to go. You said 10K and a mil. Let's start with 10K.
Okay, so my focus is I help people get to 10K a month, especially with focus on the online fitness business. That's the only kind of business I work at. That I advertise working with. I've helped a lot of different people in a lot of different industries get to 10K, 20K. A lot of them even millions a month. Not a month. I help people get to millions a year. That's Jeremy's thing. But I've helped people make up to $1 million a year. Or I think my number one student. She broke the record last year. She made $2 million last year. But with fitness business. So I would say very first thing you got to do to get to 10K is you got to really carve out your niche. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you initially this
applies to all disciplines, guys. He's telling you that whether you have fitness business or not. For sure. All disciplines, because it's. If you don't carve out your niche, who exactly you want to help, like your target market, and what specific problem you want to solve for them, then you're just a business coach or a business guy or whatever business you have. I'll use the fitness example because that makes more sense for me. These people, they want to make money as trainers, but they're just fitness guys or fitness girls. How you stand out amongst all them motherfuckers, right? But what I tell them to do is focus on the who, the what, and the how. And the who would be like, who exactly do you want to help, right? Really, really narrow down. In fitness, we can narrow down a little better, right? Because remember when you were in my program, you said you wanted to help young men. Pause. You focus on young men, right? And young men, you want to help them get ripped, right? Yep. And why do young men want to get ripped? To get chicks.
To get chicks, right? It makes perfect sense. So he only focused on them, right? He wasn't worried about nothing else. And a lot of trainers they struggle with that, because if you've been working in the gym, you just take whoever the gym give you train anybody, and that's cool. How to train everyone, but you can't market to everyone. It's kind of like I got some Old Spice deodorant in the crib, right? It's got a wolf biting into the fucking logo or some shit. My girl has some.
I use the Fiji one.
Use the Fiji one, right? This guy knows what's up. My girl uses the secret deodorant, right? Now you can look at these. You can look at the actual packaging, and you'll know if it's for men or women, right? It's made by the same company. It's Procter & Gamble, right? They're smart enough to know that they can't market the same shit to men and women. It's super difficult. You get what I'm saying? And if you look at secret deodorant, it's like the Easter Bunny colors. You know what I'm saying? They got it'll be the same flavor, like baby powder flavor, right? And they'll call it like powder fresh, but the guy, they'll call it like sports fresh, but it'll be the same exact fucking scent,
like jets and shit on it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Have a fucking wolf biting into the logo, because the marketing is different. You got to really appeal, and I think you guys did a great job with it. Like if you just had a podcast, it wouldn't have penetrated the market, right? But because you're only gonna you narrowed it down. Hey, this podcast is for men, right? For men who want to get girls, who want to come up. You figured out what problem you want to solve for a specific kind of man, because it's probably not 50-year-old motherfuckers. I'm probably the oldest motherfucker watching this shit. I'm 42, right? So it's like younger guys is your demo, right?
18 to 40.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's in there, right?
Yeah.
But that's your demo, and you know what they want. You help them solve the problem. And that's how you were able to penetrate the market. So you really got to figure out who you want to target, and then then the next part is, what problem do you want to solve for them? In the fitness context, it's like, okay, do you want to focus on helping young guys get ripped? You wanted to help them get ripped, right? That's what you were doing when you were in the program?
Yeah.
All right, so you
with an evidence-based lens.
Right.
With studies and shit like that.
Legit studies. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So you weren't trying to help people become pro bodybuilders?
Nah.
You weren't trying to help with obese motherfuckers?
Nah.
You weren't trying to help with motherfuckers who want to be pro athletes? It was like you just wanted to get ripped.
Yep.
Right? So you can just ignore everyone else, right? And then you had a specific how, right? So it's the who, the what. You solving that problem for them. And then the how.
Yep.
Your how was evidence-based shit. You were super deep on the studies, right? Now you can stand out amongst all the other trainers, right? This is the only guy, not only guy, but it's less competition. He focuses on men, pause, helping them get ripped with evidence-based science shit, right? And so there's less competition there.
Yeah.
But you went deep on the why too. It's like to get girls.
Yeah.
To get girls, right? Some guys want to get ripped for fucking health. Cool. But you got to market to them different. You said guys who want to get ripped for girls.
Yeah.
So that was a whole different. Now you stand out because you were You can post pictures with girls. You can post pictures with you. You can talk about in your copy that you write about how you get the hoes. I'm sorry. Bitches because you're rich, right? Yeah. And the guy who wants that guy who has that problem, that need, when he hears you talk about it, it's like, oh, this is exactly what I want. Yep. But if he hears another fitness guy, I hope you get raped and your longevity and shit, it's like you may be talking about the same shit, but because you didn't sell it to him the other guy didn't sell it to him the way he wanted. But somebody else will want it that way, right? So you gotta really dig deep into the messaging with your niche, your target market. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
That's the first
it makes
thing initially.
Yeah. You got to find a niche, and then sometimes even if your niche is overinflated, right? So I can give you guys a little. I've never shared this, but I'll share it with you guys anyway. So for me, right, I had the fitness niche and obviously using an evidence-based lens, but then also at the same time I was red pill aware, so I was a fucking simp like everyone else, not everyone else, but a lot of people in the fitness industry. You know this, Brandon, right?
Yeah.
They're like fucking soft and they bow down to women and they're fucking cowards and shit like that, and they think, yeah, women power. So like my thing was like, not only am I going to teach you guys how to get in shape and give you guys the truth about fitness, but I'm also going to tell you all the truth about females as well and how to deal with female nature and shit. So that's why people had more trust in me, because they're like, all right, this dude's not a sucker, he's not a simp. I could trust this guy from a fitness perspective, but also he understands the difficulty that I deal with navigating the sexual marketplace and dealing with women. So he can also help me with that as well. So I was able to give him a 1-2 punch with that.
You mixed the fitness with the game.
Yes.
You went deep on that.
Yeah.
Why? That specific why? Oh, they want to get girls.
Yeah.
So,
and even to this day, I still do that, right? Yeah. Like I don't take on as many clients as before, but I still do that where I help them with their fitness, and I also help them with like girls as well. Because the problem is that it's very hard to find a guy that like is red pill aware and will tell you how to deal with modern women while simultaneously telling you, all right, this is what you got to do in the gym as well.
And that's lesson number 1. You got to do that to stand out.
Yeah.
Amongst the market, especially initially, right? Now, as you grow and you have more money and more leverage, then you can expand your market. For example, McDonald's, it was just burgers.
I can only think of like
shakes,
2 or 3 other guys that do what I do.
Exactly.
Right? Versus
so,
like
millions.
If I had it before, like I'm just gonna give you fitness things, you'd be competing with millions. But like I could think of like literally Austin Dunham, FedEx Fearless. That's about it.
That's it.
And so
those are the homies.
That's what it is. Yeah, and I know them. I'm cool with them. So that's the importance of like really niching down guys and finding what it is. Obviously this is with a fitness lens, but then with any business you have, you got to really lock it down.
For sure. Like for example, McDonald's started with just burgers and fries and shit, right? But then now they expanded. At one point you could get wings out of McDonald's. You know what I'm talking about, man. You was getting them wings from McDonald's. You look like you was fucking with the Mighty Wings. I was shit, man.
I was even here in America.
I was fucking with the Mighty Wings. That was my shit. They had a black CEO. First thing my nigga did was said, "Yo, we need to put wings on the menu."
Oh, the McRib.
Yo, they got all types of shit now. McBurritos, all types of shit. But initially, it was just burgers and fries. But as you get more leverage, you can expand your target market out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But initially, you got to get that first 10K. Or maybe even the first 100K, like you want to be super narrow so you can stand out.
I'm surprised to hear you not just immediately jam on mindset for 10K a month. Like think about it back when you got your first 10 G's.
Yo, tell them.
Like when you were going through his shit back in the day.
Yeah.
Was it really just the vehicle that made the biggest difference, or was it the mental tweaks?
Well, it was, So I also, because at the time I had a job, right? So, and I tell guys, we literally talk about this, like having a job is one of the worst and greatest things if you want to kind of venture into entrepreneurship, because you're making enough where you're comfortable. And, for you to kind of like make that twist over to entrepreneurship, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot because you have your job and then you're also doing this thing on the side. So you don't get to have the weekend warrior fun that you would normally have when you have your job, and you're kind of in your head like, why do I need to do this? I already make enough. I'm comfortable enough. But like, you really got to be able to push through that and be like, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And then once you make enough money from the entrepreneur thing, then you can venture out and kind of go full in. But like that transition period where you're doing it, it's mindset.
You know how almost every dude has that box somewhere in their house. There's just a bunch of like tangled up wires and shit that we all keep and bring with us, like house to house to house to house. Like thinking
I might need this cable one day.
That's how I look at back in the day. Like when I was making less than 10K a month, that's how my brain felt. It felt like the first thing you got to do is just undo all that crazy shit that's going on in your head and get the right kind of belief system in place. You have to really understand the power of how much money matters. And really believe that like you deserve that amount of money, that you can make that amount of money. It's an excessive quantity of limiting beliefs, almost like a massive fucking wall that exists in front of you, when you fail to break down that wall, it's like you have a really hard time climbing it. You know, it's easier to just go around it, or in some instances, if you can work through those existing limiting beliefs, just to fucking take them down one by one.
Because like I'll tell you this, I'll never forget when it clicked for me. I remember I got wired $30K after selling a course.
Yeah,
and that was like my first big thing, and I was like, oh shit, this is real.
Mine was a $12K check. I went and I cashed it. Okay, and I walked around my job. I had the loaf in my pocket, and I would walk up to my coworkers who were like all my buddies and stuff, in like the little marketing room I was in, and I'd be like, touch it, you know, and I'd have dude, and I'd wake up every fucking day. I swear to God, I wake up every day, and I would seriously just sit there and count it, you know, and like, man, it's hard to describe it, like that initial feeling of just like feeling like the fucking man, you know, with like only 12 G's.